Hey guys, today we're going to talk about control words. If you look at my op.gg, I tend not to buy very many control words. In fact, I probably, don't buy almost any control words. So why is that? And am I buying too few? Probably. But are people going overboard with control words? And what I'll say is that I find that people tend to sit in two camps, which is either they're buying way too many control words or they're not buying any. And obviously, even for solo queue, there's a better mix than that. It doesn't have to be 0 or 10 per game. And so what I would say is that control words represent a significant cost to you as a support. And with a lot of great items that are available to you, spending 750 gold if you buy 10 control words in a game on control words instead of on half of an item is quite bad. And so in my opinion, I think that if you're buying 10, 11 control words a game, you probably need to stop doing that. You shouldn't be buying a control word every single time you back. You shouldn't be placing control words that get instantly killed right in front of you. Obviously, these things are not helping you. You've got all kinds of considerations to take into account. So first thing, you have the fact that you're spending 750 gold on control words. Secondly, you have the opportunity cost of what you could have put that 750 gold towards in terms of items. And then, of course, there's a small amount of gold, 30 gold per control word, that you give to the enemy team when your control word gets killed. So let's say that you place 10 control words in a game, you've spent 750 gold, and if, sometimes you're going to move them if you're buying that many, but if their team were to kill all 10 of your control words, you're giving them 300 gold, plus you're giving them a bunch of XP for killing it as well. So you have to think then at that point, if it's costing me, if I'm a player who buys 10 control words a game, if it's costing my team a net swing of, about 1,050 gold, am I getting, 3 or 4 kills a game from the control words that I'm buying to justify that cost? And the answer is probably no. So you're not getting 3 or 4 kills a game because you're buying 10 control words. There's more to it than that. Control words can also provide some advantage in team fights if you establish it in a bush where they can't see, your teammates. Although as soon as your teammates attack out of the bush, they're going to see them anyways, because if you auto attack from a bush, people will get vision of you. And it can be good, of course, for securing objectives and making sure that they don't have a easier time stealing a dragon or a baron. And so what I recommend doing is somewhere in the middle. You also don't want to buy 0 because they are quite a cheap yet effective important item that exists in the game in order to get extra vision and also, like I said, to secure objectives. So what I think you should do is you should probably be averaging a couple control words a game, maybe 3 or 4 in solo queue. And obviously they're much better in competitive because your team can protect them better, make better use of the information because you're all coordinating together, et cetera, et cetera. So, but in solo queue where you're playing a little bit more selfishly, you're playing more for your items, buying that many control words feels really bad. And so that's why I just don't do it. Now, I think that I tend to fall into this camp of underbuying control words because people build habits and it's difficult to have to reevaluate every time you back whether this is a recall where I'm getting a control word or this is one where I'm not. And so what happens is people tend to either always buy a control word when they back if they can, or they just never buy them. And that's kind of difficult because if you want to be buying 3 or 4, how do you decide when it's time to buy the control word that you do want to get? Well, obviously, if you have a little bit of extra gold left over and you can hold on to that control word for a long time in your inventory, and rather than just placing it down, where they see where you're placing it, or in a place in lane you might not be able to defend at some point, rather than doing something like that, maybe hold on to that control word in your inventory for when you have the opportunity to use it in one of those ways that I said would be more effective, either in a safer position. Maybe early on you buy a control ward and put it in a really safe spot where it's unlikely to be found and killed, like inside of your own jungle. Or maybe you buy one later on because you recognize that you're going toward Baron or Dragon, and if that contestation comes up and the other team is actually contesting it, you can slap that control word down on the Dragon or the Baron, and if not, then you just save it for the next objective. So, this is what I believe to be the proper way to use control words in solo queue, but ultimately, like I said, it's just a numbers game. If we're paying 1,000 gold swing in the game to get those 10 control words, we better be getting our 1,000 gold back at a bare minimum. So our average scenario has to be us getting about 3 kills off of it back in order for it to be worth it, maybe 4. You also have the opportunity costs, like I said, because not only is it about investing that gold into the control words, but if you were to invest it and get nothing back other than those 3 kills, you just break even in gold. Whereas you invest 750 gold or that 1,000 gold swing, you could think of them having 300 gold less in items and you having 750 more, you can invest that into a third or a half of a whole completed item. And so gaining access to that active or that passive earlier or faster into the game is going to make a significant difference as well, because maybe getting all of your actives and passives, a couple of minutes earlier because you're not wasting gold on control words is going to be the difference between you saving a couple of people versus not saving a couple of people with Locket or Redemption or something like that, or Knight's Vow. So there's that opportunity cost, and it's quite steep, because if you imagine that the gold you would have spent on control words would have enabled you to save an extra 1 or 2 people with a Locket or Redemption, or whatever item that you were going, or made you tankier in some way that helped you, or whatever the case may be, if you feel like that provided 1 kill of value to you on average per game, getting that earlier, then now the control words also, in order to cover the opportunity cost, don't just need to make the 1,000 gold swing back, but they also have to make up for an additional 300 gold kill. It is worth mentioning, I guess, you shouldn't necessarily think of kills as being worth 300 gold, because if you get an assist on the kill, you get an additional 150 gold for the assist. So it's 450 gold per kill if some person gets an assist on it. Even if you have multiple people getting the assist on it, they just split the assist gold. So technically, maybe you'd be looking more at like 3 kills being would be 1350 gold. So, that does provide a little bit more value to you there if you're getting a couple of kills from your item or from control words. But in general, that's why I try to steer clear of buying too many control words. And I think a lot of high elo solo queue players probably do the same. But it'd be interesting to see. I'll show my op.gg and how many control words I'm getting. And I hope that you guys found this helpful. And if you have any questions, of course, feel free to ask in the comments. GG, and good luck in solo queue, and have a amazing, beautiful, fantastic day.